Imagine for a moment that you could grow old and then simply decide to start over. The wrinkles vanish, the gray hair fades, and your body rewinds back to the beginning, as if time itself never touched you. No medicine, no surgery, just a built-in reset button for life. It sounds impossible. It sounds like something from a science fiction movie. But deep beneath the waves, hidden in the ocean's vast darkness, there exists a tiny creature that actually does this. It doesn't just fight aging, it reverses it. It cheats death in a way no other animal can. This isn't a story about humans chasing immortality. This is about a real-life animal, smaller than your fingernail, that has already solved the problem we've been obsessed with for centuries. An animal that laughs in the face of time, and when pushed to the edge of life, simply rewinds and begins again. Scientists know it by the name Turritopsis dohrnii. To most of us, though, it has earned a far more chilling nickname, the immortal jellyfish. Why? Because unlike every other creature we know, this fragile little animal refuses to accept the one certainty of life, death. Now, don't be fooled by its size. It's smaller than your pinky nail, almost invisible against the backdrop of the sea. But what it lacks in size, it makes up for in power. This jellyfish carries within it one of the most extraordinary survival strategies ever discovered, a secret that seems to bend the very laws of biology. Think about it. Every living thing on Earth follows the same story: birth, growth, aging, and eventually death. But this jellyfish has a plot twist. When its body begins to fail, when the end seems inevitable, it doesn't die. Instead, it performs a trick so bizarre, so unique, that scientists around the world are still trying to understand it. And it's this ability, this mysterious biological reset, that has led many to call it the only creature that can truly cheat death. To truly appreciate just how extraordinary this animal is, we need to walk through the ordinary life of a jellyfish. Like every other creature on Earth, a jellyfish has a beginning, a middle, and an end. But the journey from birth to death in these delicate drifters is surprisingly complex. It all starts with an egg, barely visible to the human eye, released into the vast expanse of the ocean. That egg hatches into a larva called a planula. Picture a tiny speck, no larger than a grain of sand, slowly pulsing through the water until it finds a solid surface to cling to. Once it attaches, it transforms into something almost unrecognizable: a polyp. This polyp doesn't resemble the jellyfish we know. It's more like a miniature sea anemone, anchored to the ocean floor, waiting patiently for its next transformation. From this humble stage, the jellyfish begins to bud. Layer after layer, new baby jellyfish, called ephyrae, peel away from the polyp and swim off into the ocean. These little pulses of life eventually grow into the bell-shaped adults we picture when we think of jellyfish. The Medusa stage. This is the final form, the mature jellyfish gliding through the water with hypnotic grace. And normally, this is where the story ends. Medusas grow old, they weaken, and eventually they die. But the immortal jellyfish doesn't follow the rules. Its story has a twist that no other animal can match. When its adult body is damaged, starving, or even approaching the natural decline of age, it refuses to surrender. Instead of drifting toward death, this jellyfish does something miraculous. Its body folds in on itself and sinks, collapsing into a fragile, shapeless lump. And then the magic begins. Through a rare process called transdifferentiation, the jellyfish's cells undergo a complete makeover. Imagine if your skin cells could suddenly become muscle cells, or if your heart tissue could transform into brain tissue. That's what happens here. The adult jellyfish reorganizes itself, piece by piece, until it becomes a polyp once again, the very same stage it started life with. From that polyp, it can produce a new colony of jellyfish, each one starting fresh, as if time itself had been rewound. To put it in perspective, it would be like a 90-year-old human suddenly turning back into a toddler, then growing up all over again, not once, but potentially over and over throughout eternity. This is not just survival. This is reinvention. This is nature hitting the reset button. And it's what makes the immortal jellyfish stand apart from every other living creature on our planet. While most animals march forward toward an inevitable end, this jellyfish takes a step backward, rewriting its own story whenever the threat of death appears. In the endless cycle of the ocean, It has found a way to trade finality for repetition. It doesn't just bend the rules of life, it completely rewrites them. So how does this jellyfish pull off such a shocking transformation? The answer lies in the strange, almost magical process happening inside its body. It's called transdifferentiation, and it allows cells to change from one type into another. In most animals, once a cell becomes specialized, say a skin cell or a nerve cell, it's locked into that role for life. But the immortal jellyfish doesn't play by those rules. When stressed, injured, or aging, its cells unlock their identities. A nerve cell can become muscle, a muscle cell can become part of the digestive system, and everything reshuffles itself into a younger, earlier version of the creature. Think about that for a second. For us, it would be like a 90-year-old human reversing back into a child with fresh, healthy tissues and decades of life ahead once more. It's a complete biological reset, not just slowing down aging, but reversing it entirely. This makes the immortal jellyfish the only known animal capable of such a full transformation, cycling backward in its own timeline. Scientists believe the secret lies in its unique genetic programming, allowing it to rewrite the instructions of its body whenever survival is at stake. It's no wonder researchers around the world are fascinated. To unlock how this creature bends biology could mean uncovering clues to healing damaged cells, regenerating organs, and maybe even slowing the relentless march of human aging. At this point, you might be wondering, if this jellyfish can rewind its life indefinitely, does that mean it truly lives forever? The answer is complicated. In theory, yes. The immortal jellyfish has no built-in expiration date. Unlike humans, it doesn't gradually weaken and die of old age. Whenever it's threatened by starvation, injury, or simply the passage of time, it can revert to its youthful polyp stage and begin again. On paper, that looks like immortality. But reality is much harsher. The ocean is full of dangers, and this jellyfish is far from invincible. Predators like turtles, fish, and even larger jellyfish devour them before they ever get the chance to reset. Disease, harsh environments, and sheer bad luck wipe out many more. So while the immortal jellyfish has found a loophole in nature's rulebook, it hasn't escaped the game entirely. Immortality doesn't mean indestructibility. It doesn't mean untouchable. What it does mean is that this tiny, fragile creature has discovered a biological trick that lets it outwit aging itself, something no other animal has managed. In other words, the immortal jellyfish cheats death, but it can't escape life's battles. And in that way, it reminds us of something important. No matter how powerful the secret, survival is never guaranteed. If this jellyfish can rewind its own life, why should we care? The answer is simple, because inside this tiny creature may lie secrets that could change our future. Scientists are fascinated by the immortal jellyfish not just because it defies aging, but because it might hold clues to solving problems that have plagued humans for centuries. Imagine being able to regenerate damaged organs the way this jellyfish regenerates itself. Imagine reversing the aging process in human cells, slowing down diseases like Alzheimer's, or even unlocking new ways to fight cancer. At the heart of it all is the jellyfish's ability to reprogram its cells. If we could understand and replicate that process, the possibilities would be staggering. Medicine could shift from repairing damage to preventing it altogether. People could live longer, healthier lives. And while true immortality may never be possible for us, the lessons hidden within this tiny ocean drifter could dramatically extend human health and longevity. Of course, the research is still in its early stages. Scientists are only beginning to scratch the surface of how the immortal jellyfish works its magic. But what's clear is this: tucked away in the depths of the sea, an animal the size of your fingertip is forcing us to rethink everything we thought we knew about aging, survival, and what it really means to live. So what can we learn from the animal that cheats death? Maybe it's a reminder that nature still holds secrets far greater than anything we've imagined. That in the hidden corners of our planet, life has already discovered solutions to problems we've barely begun to solve. The immortal jellyfish won't build civilizations, won't write books, and won't leave behind monuments. But what it does is even more profound. It rewrites the rules of biology every time it resets its own clock. And that leaves us with a question. If a creature no bigger than a fingernail can escape aging, what might we be capable of once we finally unlock its secrets? The next time you think about eternal youth, remember it already exists, silently drifting through the oceans. Living proof that death is not always the final chapter. If you found this story as fascinating as I did, make sure to subscribe, because there are countless more mysteries of the natural world waiting to be uncovered. And who knows, the next secret we discover might just change the way we see life itself.